Welcome to the Week in Truth number 10. Now, unfortunately, this video is not going to be my regular witty badinage. Unfortunately, the topic is far too serious for that. Since my last video on Zippy, there have been some rather disturbing events and developments. So I'm going to go through those. Now, some of you perhaps don't know really who this Cali Diamond person is that's caused so much chaos. So we're going to go over all that and some of the things that I've read recently. Now, I have to admit, I haven't seen any of these videos that this Ann Drogyne has done. Apparently that's how she says her name, even though it is not spelled correctly. But we'll brush aside that. I haven't watched her videos because I'm a bit gender critical myself, and it didn't seem to be the sort of thing that would appeal to me. But I think I'm going to have to get past my fear of the monobrow and actually watch them at some point. But it seems lots of other people on YouTube have kind of watched them for me, so I know really what's been going on. So this Cali Diamond person has been on Shaun's show a few times, and the backstory that was provided for her was that she was drugged and trafficked and was abused as a child and all the rest of it. So we were led to be quite sympathetic to her. And Shaun said that she was staying in his flat and that kind of thing. And also this GoFundMe page was set up for her. As you can see, it's actually gone up to just over £5,000 there, with the aim of setting Cali up in her own flat. Now, all the time that she was staying at Shaun's flat, he was telling us things like he'd found her somewhere to live, found her own flat. But when he told her this, that she had thrown herself out of the window, his balcony window, and he had heroically rescued her from throwing herself to the ground, and she was self-harming and all that kind of stuff. So one of the things that I thought was, oh my God, this Shaun's bitten off more than he can chew. I hadn't entirely dismissed him as being a complete fraud at that point in time. But rapidly, we are coming to see that the whole thing is a bit shabby at the very least. So anyway, here we are with the GoFundMe page, and her backstory as being trafficked and abused and all the rest of it. So what happens next? You will know that they did this prank video supposedly to affect Ann Drogyne, their troll, and feed her this fake stuff that Shaun was doing drugs and having it away with Cali and all the rest of it. But people are saying perhaps this was actually done to cover up what was going to come out about Shaun and Cali and the relationship between them, because there have been some really disturbing developments on this front. I hate to say, I shouldn't be laughing about it really, because it's too bad. It's really grim. Just when you think things can't get any worse, they do. Now, this is Shaun in front of this balcony window because somebody in the comments on my last video said that this balcony that she's supposed to have threatened to throw herself out of, or been rescued from throwing herself out of, was actually on the ground floor. So if it was this one that you can see, then I don't think Shaun's got an upstairs to his flat. It's just this level, so they would have been meaning this particular balcony, and as you can see, it's ground floor. So that kind of makes a bit of a ridicule of that. But there's worse to come. Have a look at the bars on this balcony. There's Cali. Now, Cali, we've been told, was a sex worker, and this is her profile on a website called adultwork.com. And you can see, if you look at this picture here, that looks rather like Shaun's balcony, doesn't it? Yeah, nice one, Shaun. I think you've really dropped yourself in the shite. And now, of course, there's a load of stuff here which you can pause the video and read for yourself. But one of the things that has been found on her profile is this that says, I'm also looking for a new sugar daddy. My previous has had to end after a great 6 years due to his family commitments, hence the move to Brighton. Also looking for livery for a horse and a 2-bed place to rent. Just this woman so hard up and desperate and scared to death that she's managing to keep a horse. Yeah. I apologise as I don't mean to sound stuck up. It's just like, um, I really can't. But it's awful. It's really awful that she's just conned people out of £5,000, and yet she's looking for somewhere to keep her horse. Like, this is something out of Jill's Gymkhana series. It's really horrible. But there's no way around this. That this is fraudulent. Obviously, she can't be that desperately off, and it sounds like she's found herself a new sugar daddy, doesn't it, Shaun? So I don't know what else we can really say about Cali. There's some other videos floating around of her which show her apparently very high on whatever substances that she's taking. Do we really trust Shaun that he's not doing drugs anymore? I don't know. Personally, that doesn't really matter to me. Sorry if you hear my dog scruffling around in the background there. I don't care if he does drugs or not. I think you can be a moral person and still have a drug habit, but it just seems that one of my concerns about Shaun right from the beginning was his morals, actually, because if you watch the videos where he talks about his past, I had seen before that he had said that he was married to a bisexual woman who worked producing lesbian porn. And it's like, okay, that sounds a bit kind of grubby. But, let's be broad minded and whatnot. And then somebody told me about this interview that he did on London Real with Brian Rose. And I just watched it a little while ago. And he's recounting the story of his wedding day to this bisexual porn actress. And she has asked him that she said she wanted to go to a brothel. And then they've spent some time trying to find a prostitute that will come to their home and engage in oral sex with them. Yeah, that makes me feel a bit bilious, to be honest. The whole Shaun and his porn actress wife and this prostitute they've got up in their room, and the lines of coke that they were doing. And he just seems to think it's all pretty hilarious anyway. I mean, yeah, it doesn't exactly strike me as being very romantic, but and that's his life, that was his choice, all the rest of it. But you can't really expect somebody like that to become some sort of moral hero. Leopards don't really change their spots, and I really have my doubts now about the whole Shaun Attwood thing and who's been bankrolling the enterprise from day one. As you'll see from my other video, I already had concerns about him anyway that maybe were a bit more light-hearted. But the whole thing's just, really stinks. Sonia Poulton's obviously distanced herself from it. She did try to have this interview with him where she basically said, "Oh, Shaun, what are you doing? What are you doing, Shaun?" But that interview didn't go very well, and he's actually taken it down from his channel. I made some notes while I was watching it. For a start, she's asking him what he's doing, and then the next thing, he changes the subject and he starts going on about Cali is a pedo warrior, and did you know she's actually got pedos and put them behind bars, but she didn't want anyone to know about this. It's like, well, that's not relevant at all to this prank video that you've done and the distastefulness of it. And there's some contradictions in, he keeps saying, with this Ann Drogyne stuff, he just snapped. And then he also says, but it took weeks for him to think it up, the whole plan of the prank video and stuff. Well, when it comes to Sonia, Mum's not pleased with you, Shaun. She's you're grounded for a good few weeks, mate. So I'm going to have to do a separate video on Sonia, because I also think she's dodgy as fuck anyway. Everything to do with Sonia basically spontaneously combusts after a while. People might remember the doomed People's Voice channel, which involved Sonia and David Icke and Mark Windows. Mark Windows really deserves a video of his own as well. He's absolutely hilarious. So many names. It's a very long to-do list that I've got of people to get through. I'm sure there's things that I've not said about Shaun that I really want to. There's one thing that I really, really, really wanted to say for the people that have just got into the truth movement and are starting to learn that so many of these people are shills. Don't lose heart, because the whole reason this is done is, in a way, to put you off the scent. I'm going to have to do other videos explaining the whole thing. But the irony of this is, it's to cover up the very things that they're supposedly trying to expose. Because when this happens to you, maybe you've donated money and the rest of it, you will be absolutely gutted and brokenhearted. And you'll never want to hear about the truth movement ever again. And all these things that you were campaigning about yourselves a few weeks ago, maybe you'll feel ridiculous talking about them. But the facts are, a lot of this stuff, maybe 60% of it, is actually true. And we really need, as people, to get together and do something about it. And we don't need to be derailed by these cheats, shills and fakes. That's the point of me doing these videos, really.